Well, it's kind of sad to say that this is our last kind of social meeting, I guess, you know. But before we get into just maybe a little bit of a review, I'd certainly like to thank, Alyssa, Katie, Colin. This has been a real treat. There's been a lot that we've learned. It's been very, very helpful. It's created a lot of good discussion amongst the brotherhood. And, we're excited for, what you're going to present next week. And then also, up there at the big event. But yeah, I just want to say thank you. It's really been a real pleasure getting to know all three of you. And like I say, you will have to put you all in the annals of the brotherhood. So 20, 30 years from now, people will say, well, it was that business consulting group that turned those guys around.
That's right.
So,
That's
but thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you, JR, for
My
that.
pleasure.
And thank you all for all of this. It's been really fun. And this isn't goodbye yet, but we're happy to help as much as we can. So
Terrific, terrific.
mhm.
Um,
Will you get an A for this deal?
I think there's no grading system, but
There isn't.
I
Okay.
mean, you can win best poster or best written report. So that might be a goal we'll strive for at the final meeting. But
I don't know. I am not artistic at all. And I made a garbage poster last semester and I won best poster. So I think we have a chance.
that's my thing. I got us. That's my number
Yeah.
one priority right now.
My poster suggestion is JR modeling some of our brotherhood sportswear.
some of those old jerseys. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Funny, funny.
This is a guy who used to model a mink stole or a mink coat. You remember that, JR?
Yeah, yeah. I remember those days. Yeah. Oh man, crazy. Hey, I was thinking just to kind of go over, some of the points that I think have been real highlights. And I think as you're kind of fine tuning your presentation for next week, I think it would be helpful because the plan on our end is to invite the entire leadership team, which, will be about 30. I will record it and I'm going to, probably I might send it out to the entire group, certainly the leadership, but also adding Noah Shepherd and John Schummel and Ben LeCompte in there. And I think in terms of the structure, I think it would be good to, be pretty definitive about the 501c7. Also, the 5 board members. And I think collectively, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we all kind of agree that of those 5 board members, they should all be from each one of the 5 eras, with starting with the 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s, and then 2010. One from each. Is that kind of how you guys feel? I mean, that's what I recall with our correspondence over the last week. Everybody was kind of on that page, I think.
Yeah. So my part, yeah, and kind of the presentation is I'll highlight a lot of that stuff. I'll highlight a lot of the benefits of what you're getting by choosing the route that you're choosing. And then I will also highlight, yes, both of your board of directors and also just your subcommittees, just to keep like that an actual thing. And then I would just say wheels in motion. At some point, you need to have either nominees or an all brotherhood meeting and figure out who those 5 are. And then based upon that, start on your subcommittees. Otherwise, I'm just going to highlight a few other business things besides the legal logistics.
Fair enough. Pat, Mike, or Todd, any comments that vary from what I'm saying, or we're all on the same page?
No, I would just agree. Those are the big items. The major implementation task list, if you will.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I think, John, when you laid it out throughout the week here, this last week, I think all the priorities are in order.
Good, good.
And
Good.
in terms of the presentation next week, you guys, what should we expect to see, like, in terms of recommendations from your group versus a list of things that we actually need to do, or some combination of both, maybe? What's it look like?
I think it'll be a combination of both. Also, some things, maybe even just like a implementation schedule would be helpful for that timeline for you guys. But it'll be pretty, there's going to be no fluff in it. Like we've said before, we'll pretty much lay out exactly what we recommend to do, and then just maybe an example of how we would implement that. But if you have any suggestions or comments now that you would for sure want us to include, or how you would want that schedule to look, please let us know.
I think, you know, one of the things that we talked about this week, us collectively, the committee, was, you know, looking at revenue sources for the Brotherhood. And I think the important part of that too is the timeline of when those revenue sources could kick in. And going back to, you know, Alyssa's comments in the early days about, you know, realistically kicking this off from a public perspective, you know, really with the push getting into as we're leading up to our fundraiser in September. But I think what we're looking at is two sources of revenue for the Brotherhood. One would be in the fall, where we would have our annual fundraiser that goes to the football program via the foundation. And then in November, the foundation would, in effect, kind of reimburse the Brotherhood 10% of the money we raise. So there would be an influx of capital coming in, and that would be really the first money to arrive in this new entity, would be coming in that period in the fall. And then in the late spring, say like May 1 to the end of June, at the end of the year, going the end of June being the end of the fiscal year, we would have, you know, I'm just saying, some kind of annual drive for our operations. And the thought process would be that, you know, guys could, you know, give $5 a month to $15 a month, possibly a little more, but, you know, a couple of options. And, you know, they're either donating $60 a year or $180. But the focus in the spring is going to be, look, this is just operational money to help us to enhance the programs we're doing and develop new programs that we can do with the players and with the team. So I think from a scheduling standpoint, Matt Murphy and I, who's the attorney, have been playing phone tag. He has told me that he's, you know, he's on it. He's willing to help us. So I would see, you know, that as your recommendations come out, you know, next week and the following week, that we would take a few weeks to kind of, you know, make sure that all of the leadership is kind of bought into this, and then, you know, start to push that out publicly that, hey, we are going to set up a 501c7, and with the intent that we would hopefully have that live, you know, sometime, you know, between the end of June to July, somewhere in there. And I think the board approach, this is, you know, my thought, but collectively the committee, but I think this committee should be the ones that recommend the potential board members, and that, you know, the 8 guys who have been on this team, you know, have heard it from day one, and they totally understand what the objective is. So I think it would be, you know, us kind of saying, hey, you know, we think these 5 people are the right fit, and you know, and we would, you know, how we go about, you know, the technicality of voting on that or whatever. I think that will all become probably part of the bylaws. And then I think, you know, that kind of would cover the main structure. And then that gives us some time to, get things organized, get everybody on board with what we're doing. And, you know, my concern all along is that that this entity does have some type of sources of revenue so that it can sustain itself. So in theory, come November, we would have enough money, that 12,000, give or take, would be enough to carry us through to the summer. And then maybe we get another 6 to 10, 12,000 again, and that gets us into the fall. And as we expand and raise more money for the fundraiser and get more members involved, then each year, hopefully the capital would increase over. And that I've run the budgets. I haven't shared them with everybody yet. I've been kind of tweaking them, but that in theory would handle what we typically need to cover, the kind of the annual expenses. And that's us, giving back to the current members as well,
Hey.
along the way.
Hey, JR, this list, I just wanted to jump in with one thought. I think that something that would be helpful to you all as you start to approach these leadership conversations or the one-on-one conversations, and then when you meet with the full group or present to the full group, I would be really prepared to give some examples of what will this revenue raised actually support. And I think that, everybody on this call probably understands some of those things. But if I'm a betting woman, there's going to be a good chunk of your team or your membership that's like, well, what do you mean this stuff costs money? Like, well, what do you mean JR is putting in, thousands of dollars of time and investment by himself? And so I'd just be really, and you don't need to go into crazy spreadsheet detail, but revenue raised will be used to offset the following costs, period.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely a good idea. And yeah, and we'll certainly be able to spell that out and in detail for sure, if it's required. But yeah, that's a real good point. That's a real good point. Any of you other guys have any other add-ons to
that is a really, really good point, because when you get all these guys, and especially the people that are giving, at the time of the reunion and all that, there'll be a handful somewhere along the line that push back saying, I'm giving this to go to the football team, you guys are carving a little out of there. And there will be a little bit of a rub. And I agree. If you spell it out in some sort of a financial report, that'll get you through that deal.
Yeah, good point, Mike. Yeah, and I think, yeah, because we've never really, the Brotherhood has just been, it exists, it goes on, we have these events, things happen, and, no one really has a feel for what the behind the scenes, what it takes to kind of make those things go on. But yeah, I think with a financial statement and, certainly highlights of what it costs to kind of typically operate. And, some of the things that I envision, that, like for this annual drive, my view for the Brotherhood is that you don't have to support the annual drive. You don't have to support the fundraiser. If you choose not to, you're still in the Brotherhood. That,
Right.
So I'm a firm believer in that piece. You're still in the Brotherhood. But the guys who do support the annual drive, I can see where that money, we would be able to work the budget where, Tez, Todd, Pat, you come to that dinner at the old lumber company, a couple weeks before, we're trying to get invoices paid and we're trying to collect money for the dinner. And, I would like to do away with all of that and just, where, hey, you're coming to the reunion, guess what? You're a member, the dinner's, the dinner's covered, your drinks are covered, you get 2 free game tickets, and doing the same thing with like this cornhole event. Um, where, hey, you show up, you're gonna have, a hog lunch, bring your son, your grandkids, whatever. We're not digging in your pocket, sort of thing. So that's what I envision that we'll be able to do, so we'll be able to give back as part of this overall budget, I think.
Yeah, and I would, I mean, I like this approach. It'll be interesting, yeah, to hear kind of what athletics, what the foundation, what the membership at large think. But I wanted to just share one example that will hopefully make you feel excited about this track that you're on. So I years ago did in South Dakota, it's called Leadership South Dakota, Leadership Development statewide program. And every year, this started just a couple of years ago, but every year they do an annual fundraiser. And the purpose of the fundraiser is to support networking events, travel stipends, and they do some scholarships for participants. And it is kind of every year you're going to be asked to contribute. And every year the participation in this fundraiser is just, it's absolutely insane. And I think the reason is because it's a one-time ask. They are transparent about what the money is being used for. People who have participated in the program or understand and appreciate the benefits of it are like, yeah, this makes total sense to me. And it's also that opportunity to kind of bring people together. And what you're describing here, I see so many similarities with that. And as you do more of these activities, as you're able to facilitate more networking or career support kind of experiences, the more the membership is just going to latch on to that, and they're going to want you to do even more. But being really clear from the outset that you can only do this additional programming if you have revenue coming in to support it, that's key. So I think you're on the right track here, and I'm hopeful this is supported broadly.
Yeah, that's great to hear for sure. And, I think we'd be very interested in, kind of seeing how they package that up, because yeah, that's exactly, I mean, that's kind of that's our story as well. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good fit there. I really like that. That would be awesome. I think, unless anybody has any more add-ons to kind of that whole piece, I would just go, I want to thank Colin. He and I spent some time the other day going over the docs and putting things in folders. And Colin, that was very helpful. I've kind of worked on that since we met the other day, and feel that, yeah, we're in a good place, not totally finished. And, I do have some more input I'd like to get from you, because you did a great job on kind of directing me. So what that will do is that'll make available, the data, all of the pictures, I have hundreds of them, from all these different get-togethers, just things about our halftime interviews, who have done them, all of those kinds of things. So we'll have all that safely put into files that we'll be able to, I guess, Colin, like you suggested, we'll be able to email those, to the board members, so that more than one person has all that information. So that's very helpful. Anything you'd like to say there, Colin?
No, I would say, yeah, me and you can just continue to work on that. And like I said, I'm here, whether that's after April 10th or whatever, it doesn't bother me any. Where, yeah, I just want to make sure that this information stays as accessible and is open to, I mean, yeah, there's some stuff that'll be exec committee only. And I mean, that's just the way it is. Nobody needs to see all of the details. But it's the big key stuff that'll be nice where everyone can see it and it will be in one centralized hub rather than JR's computer in Florida.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then also certainly want to thank Katie. We spent some time the other day as well, you know, kind of looking at the website, looking at, you know, we actually set up a separate Brotherhood Facebook page that's not tied to me directly. And then we talked about the other social media things that we have going as well. And just, you know, for everybody's knowledge, both Katie and Colin both shared that they're, you know, more than happy past these upcoming dates of the 10th and the 16th to help us out, you know, along the way here to kind of, you know, keep the train rolling. So thanks again. That was really a big help, and really appreciate the support. It's, you know, been consistent throughout the whole process. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, John.
Yeah,
It was nice getting to speak to you separately, even just to chat, and also it was nice to know that I would love to help you guys pass this, especially with the website. I know that's not like a main priority. Obviously, the board and the other organizational stuff are very important, but I'd be willing to help update that even just after the presentation. So
yeah, terrific, terrific. And we'd welcome the support, and, you know, whatever we have to do to make that work for you, we're all in. I think I'd also, you know, and I asked both Colin and Katie when I spoke to them the other day, is just, you know, I wanted to make sure that if there's anything else that we, you know, needed to address, so that they have you know, a full view, so that their presentation can be exactly what they want it to be. And I'd kind of throw that out right now too. If there's anything else that we need to cover, talk about, that will, you know, kind of help you along the way here with your presentation.
maybe just to clarify, I think we both have a good understanding of what you guys are expecting for this recommendation, but maybe just if there's any things that we haven't talked about yet on this meeting, or even just in general, that you would really want us to highlight, especially for if John Schemmel and Noah Shepherd and all those people join. Is there any other specifics?
I'll put it around the room. Pat, do you have any thoughts on that? He might be working with the plumber. How about you, Mike?
No, I just, you know, make sure, you know, we spell out why. And I think that covers, if we tell them why, I think that, you know, is very, very helpful. And, you know, them understanding, you know, that we need to take these steps to sustain this thing.
Yeah, that's paramount. Yeah, for sure. That's how we got here to begin with.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Todd, how about you?
Yeah, I think right on with what Mike just said. Yeah, nothing more to add. Just want to be mindful of, like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? We're not going to show up next week or the week after with everything done and all the answers. It's really more of a starting point, just to manage, you know, people's expectations around that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good point. Yeah, and me as well. I think we've gone over it and kind of talked through a lot of good stuff over the last several weeks. And yeah, the highlights, you know, I think I can't think of anything other than what we've, you know, kind of outlined here today, actually.
Well, we sure look forward to the presentation. You know,
I'm glad.
we're excited to see that all come together. That'll be great.
Yeah. What kind of time frame do you think we're looking at for that? I mean, is it 20 minutes? Go ahead.
I'm going to try to make it as informal as possible. If you want like a super formal thing, that'll probably be more in Sioux Falls. Yes, Thursday will be formal and there will be people there. But if somebody has a question, I want somebody to ask a question while I'm presenting. I don't just want to sit up there and monotone and talk for me and Katie to talk for 20 minutes. Like if somebody who hasn't been at the meetings, like John Shammo or Noah or just a general Brotherhood member, ask questions. Like we're there to present and we're there to give you our recommendations, but I'm not gonna put 10 paragraphs on every slide. Nobody wants to read that. Nobody wants to see me read that.
Right, yeah, no, for sure. And I think that would probably be a good point if you're both on that same page, Colin and Katie, to kind of make, in the beginning of your talk, you could kind of mention that if there's questions, feel free, we're happy to address them or whatever.
Especially with things that we're saying, we would love if you guys could interject and either add to it or maybe explain it further. So that would be really helpful too for everybody, I think.
Okay, so our participation would be welcome too, is that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to get through all of our stuff and in like an efficient way, but if you feel like you have anything to add, feel free. I mean, it's your guys's organization. So
Yeah, good.
Yeah. As I always said, me and Katie know 3 months of the Brotherhood. You gentlemen know way more than 3 months. And so if there's something that you want to give a background on or like why it is what it is, then go into that detail and say it during the presentation. It's not going to bother us.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and certainly as Mike said, this whole thing kind of got going because of, where's the succession plan? How does this thing kind of stay alive down the road here? So good. How about things like access to sharing documents? I mean, is there anything that you'll need, from me to kind of be prepared to give you access or whatever those, whatever?
I don't think so. I think most of our stuff will just be our recommendations off of your documents that we've already seen and what we've already talked about.
Okay, so you won't necessarily be sharing a screen with anything like, any PowerPoint page or anything like that.
Oh no. So we will have a PowerPoint created, but me and Katie will just create a completely separate one, and that will be our presentation. Because my biggest thing is I don't need it to be a presentation, and then 90% of the presentation are these documents that no one has seen besides maybe the executive team of the Brotherhood, and then they're like, "Oh, what is this? What is it?" Like, yes, ask questions and clarify, but this doesn't need to be this doesn't need to be 30 minutes of like, "Oh, JR, what is this document over here?"
Okay, gotcha.
Good.
Gotcha.
That's great.
Yeah. All right.
I think we could make it, our usual hour length, since I'm sure there'll be like discussion after and during. So, but I don't think our actual like presentation per se will be super long.
Okay. All right. So as I put an invite out to the people I mentioned, I mean, yeah, I can say, hey, this is going to be an open conversation, the presentation, but there'll be opportunities to, if you have questions or concerns, and like you say, hopefully most of our committee can make it. That would be helpful too, because we all, kind of participated and, have different thoughts and inputs on it. So that's great. Alyssa, anything kind of from you to wrap up this meeting? I know I kind of thought, I don't know if we need to go an hour. I think I'd rather make sure we cover what we have to, but I feel pretty good on my end.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I think Katie and Colin have done the lion's share of work and will be ready to give an awesome update next week. The only thing that I might encourage you guys to consider is and whether this comes up during the discussion next week or at some point in the future, but so let's fast forward to September and this new structure, new model is approved with flying colors and everybody's happy. What's the next stage? What's the next opportunity with the Brotherhood? What are some things that that you maybe have on the horizon or some wish list opportunities. I think that, you know, that's just another tool in your tool chest of pitching kind of the need for structure stability with this. This isn't just a one-time 2025 project. These are the things we want to accomplish, and it's going to take all of us, and here's kind of what we have on the radar. So that's just something for you guys to give some chewing time on here, but that would be the only other thing I would offer.
Yeah, and I just comment on that. You know, I think the opportunity for more player engagement, the opportunity for us to have more connection with, with the university and, their placement area and, all of that, where we've always been an outsider. I think that to me would be, when I think of programs, I think, maybe more mentorship, more networking opportunities with the players, trying to, push those types of things and push it in conjunction with the university because you guys already have those things, they're there. I mean, even I know, there's a big mental health piece that, is there on campus. There's different, people that are heading those kinds of areas up. I mean, I know firsthand there's several Brotherhood guys who, are young guys who have dealt with that. And, so I think those are the things we need to be, where we can engage. And someone had mentioned to me, I had talked to a couple of people that are into that arena, at both the major soccer league and also in the NBA. And their comment was, yeah, you need to kind of hear it from the people, from the players, from our membership. What are they looking for help in? And I think we just have to be more tuned in, just like, I mean, to me, coach has kind of opened the floodgates with this engagement opportunity with the team. And I think from that, we can build a lot of different things and, have people come to you with ideas like, oh yeah, let's try to do this. Great. Let's run with it. So yeah, I think there'll be lots of opportunities going down the road, Alyssa.
Yeah, I think when we or you, start shifting this whole vision to more player engagement, I think the ideas are going to start coming out of the woodwork with the leadership group and then right on into the entire Brotherhood. All of a sudden, I think things are going to start popping between the Brotherhood and the U, like the cornhole deal. And it's just going to, I think it'll get a, kind of a life of its own on that player engagement thing.
Yeah. I think you're right. I agree, Tez. Anybody else have any closing comments?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I would say is, and I'll make sure to mention this in the PowerPoint is, Alyssa kind of alluded to the fact it's like you're running a marathon and you just hit mile 1.
Yeah.
And so you're celebrating the fact that, okay, we've done something that's never been done before. We're on a trajectory to continue growing in a different way. And this is only the beginning. And so that's the biggest thing that I would make sure to stress is, yes, this is great what these last 3 months have done, and the growth is insane, but where to next?
Right. Yeah. Good stuff.
Are you guys thinking about at all doing maybe like how we said like a part 1 and part 2? Obviously there's like gonna be like 100 parts, but for Kyle Business Consulting specifically, could that be something that we would highlight as an opportunity?
My view on that would be yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With that, that's a no-brainer.
I wish we could do it. We're both graduating. We're old.
Yeah, you guys will be on. But no, I hopefully we'll certainly stay connected with Alyssa and as that that new chapter starts. Yeah, I would like to continue for sure as you know, Todd and Mike say for sure. I think, yeah, that would be, yeah, because we're, you know, to the point Colin made, you know, this, we're coming, we're trying to get to first base here, and yeah, we got a long way before we're really an organized group that, you know, can kind of carry on down the road. So,
And
yeah.
that may be something, I know we've talked about this a couple times, but whether it's Coyote Business Consulting or just more or less like a student worker, for lack of a better word, who's a current member of the team or whatnot. I think if you and Katie and Colin and I frankly can help position this during the presentation, but you can really kind of make a gentle case for why that would be a benefit to this organization on an ongoing basis. And that is something we can do as part of this presentation too.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a winner. That's definitely a winner. Yeah. That's in the budget already, by the way.
Yeah, and JR will never say this, right? But there's so much work, right, that he's doing and has been doing. It's hundreds of hours of, you know, a year of work. Who's going to do that if JR isn't doing it? And JR should be able to enjoy, you know, being in this group and being a leader in it, but not having to go through the grind of doing the work. And I think there's a lot to figure out to determine who's going to do it, who's going to be in charge of it, and make sure that nothing is lost in, you know, in translation over the next few years.
Yeah, we'll have to take somebody down to Leo's one night and get him to sign a contract.
I'd love to join.
Initiation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
initiate.
Hey, Pat, I know you were kind of with your plumber or whatever there.
Yeah, now I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problems. We're kind of wrapping up. We've talked about the, you know, the presentation next week. We've kind of gone over the highlights of, you know, what would be helpful in the presentation. And if there's anything, you know, that as we wrap up that you'd like to mention or say, please do.
Well, yeah, thank you. And I don't know if this is needed for the presentation or not, but you know, one of the critical tasks for the future of the Brotherhood is a membership drive, is building this database. And that's an action item that we've got to put some meat to. And how are we gonna grow from the 350 to 450 email addresses we have now to the 2,000 that have worn uniforms over the years? And so just keeping a string on that task, I think, is critical to everything that we're doing.
Good point.
Yep, great point.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything as we wrap up?
Well, we just, you know, personally, I want to kind of piggyback on what you said earlier. Thank you all, you know, especially the USD folks for, you know, really guiding us through this thing. It's been outstanding.
Yeah. Well said, Mike.
Thanks, guys. This has been fun. And it's been fun for you guys to have a little reunion every week too, I'm sure.
No doubt.
That is true.
Yeah,
That is right.
there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I know my family will love this too, since they're big Coyote football fans too. So they'll be willing to donate as well. I'll make them.
That's great.
Well, great. Hey, thanks again to everybody. You know, excited for what the future holds, and looking forward till next Thursday. In the meantime, adios, right?
There you go.
Adios.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adios. Thanks, guys.
Great work. Great work.
Thank you, Pat.